Welcome to First Star Let's Chat, an athletic therapy podcast. I'm your host, James Gardner, certified athletic therapist, certified strength and conditioning specialist, yoga instructor, human being. This platform, for the pros, by the pros, anybody in the performance space, and beyond. Welcome here to share in the stories of professionals, experiences, journeys, learning along the way. It's a platform to connect, to network, and to be a part of a community that cares, with conversations that matter, experiences that resonate, and generate ideas, thought-provoking, organic dialogue, passionate pros. Brought to you as always by First Star Therapy, Mobility Tape, Epic, and Benchmark Athletics. In association with the Canadian Athletic Therapists Association. It's First Star Let's Chat, an athletic therapy podcast. Thanks for being here. Thank you for being a part of it. All right, still here, still live, still in just outside of Dublin in Maynooth, World Congress 13, here with Rick Griffin, one of my favorites. As always, Rick, pleasure to have you. Thank you for taking time. I know we've been bouncing back and forth here trying to do this. You've been around with PBATS, obviously as a sponsor here at World Congress, obviously a large contribution to WFATT. Your takeaways so far on the conference here, and then would love you to share the story that you shared with me yesterday.
Okay, no, first of all, thanks for having me. Always a pleasure to visit with you. I'm really happy that PBATS continues to support the World Federation. Our board members and our leadership group, they are all about education and updating athletic training worldwide. So to continue to be a part of that, and they allow me to sit on the board and represent them, really makes me feel good, because I know we're making a difference in the world of athletic training, and I know that we're helping students become better athletic trainers. So that's really important, and I think that's one of the reasons that I continue to be involved. But you had mentioned about a story that we talked about yesterday. Just a little background before I actually tell the story. So for the last 14 years, PBATS has sponsored a program. It's the International Student Exchange Program. And we take students from 4 of the universities over here in the UK and Ireland. And the universities are Tufts University, SETU University. Those are both in Ireland. And then Salford and St. Mary's in the UK. And we take students every year and we place them. And again, this program would absolutely not be possible if it wasn't for my cohorts and the athletic trainers that are working in the athletic training rooms in professional baseball over the United States. Without them agreeing to let these students come into their homes, their training rooms, and learn from them, this would not work. But they look forward to it. They love it. They love the fact that they're educating athletic trainers, not only about baseball, sports medicine, but the fact that they're from another country, and then they come back to the country and pass on that knowledge to Ireland and England is really, really big. And they make this work. I try to find good students and help them find the students, but they're the ones that do the educating. They're the ones that take their time, and they really make these guys feel at home, and they really help their educational process. But we started. The first university that we started working with, it was at the time was called Carlow University. It's now called SETU. And if Mary Dowling had not called me 14 years ago, this program would not exist. And the reason that she called me was kind of funny. There was an article that came out in the NHTA News, and it was about PBATS's educational program and exchange program with the Japanese athletic trainers that were going to school in the United States and then also in Japan. And they wanted to, Mary wanted to find out how she could get her students involved in the same program. And I asked Mary, I said, I don't quite understand, because in Ireland, you guys do not have professional baseball. You don't have baseball. You don't really have anything resembling baseball. So I'm a little curious as to why you'd want your students to be involved in this exchange program, coming to the States and learning about baseball. sports medicine. And she gave me the perfect answer, the best answer she could give. And she said, that's exactly why I want my students to be involved, because we do not have a lot of upper extremity sports. And when people hurt their upper extremity, we don't have the knowledge base to do the rehabilitation, to diagnose, to find out the programs that they need to do to return to play. And if I can get my students to come over there and learn that, then that's going to be a big coup for not only the students, but for people here in Ireland. And that was the perfect answer. And so for 2 years, Mary sent students over. And then the same thing happened with St. Mary's University over in the UK. Oliver Blankenship called me, and basically same conversation. How do we get involved? We can't let Ireland do more than we're doing.
There you go.
And so we started working with St. Mary's University. And then we started working with Salford University. In the last 3 years now, we've worked with TUS, with Lynn Allen, who's the president of ARDI. And so we have a really good thing going right now. We had 21 students last year that came over and worked with our teams in Florida and Arizona. And they come during the summer. They come in June and August for 1 month. And it's a great program because the students come, they learn about leadership, they learn about management and modalities and baseball, sports medicine, and they take that information back to their universities, their countries, and they can share that information. But probably the best thing that's happened with this program is when you start doing something like this, and I've done this since 1994. I've done it a long time and I really enjoy it. But when I started doing it in Japan, I had a goal that I was hoping that one student would come from Japan, do our program, get his certification, pass his BOC, and then eventually come and work in the United States with the pro baseball team. And that happened. And it's happened many, many times. And now almost every baseball team in America has either a Japanese acupuncturist or Japanese massage therapist. So very, very successful. A lot of the trainers that have come over and learned from Japan are now working over in baseball as athletic trainers professionally in Japan. So that was extremely successful. So when we started this program now with the UK and Ireland, I was hoping that someday, somehow, and I didn't think it would ever happen, but I was hoping that it would happen, that one of the students would enjoy baseball, enjoy their experience, pass the BOC test, and then somehow come back and work in the United States in professional baseball. And 2 years ago, it happened. A young lady named Rachel Bonner, who unknowingly has become kind of famous. She's done podcasts. She's been in the NHA News. She's been on I think she was in the publication of the last PBATS newsletter that went out. She came and she did an internship, with the Seattle Mariners. She spent 5 weeks down in Arizona working with the Seattle Mariners. She did a really, really good job. She was very impressive. Definitely one of the better interns that we've ever had. And then she came back to Ireland, finished her degree. Then she took the ARDI test, passed the ARDI test. And because of the agreement now, she was able to sit for the BOC exam. And she sat for the BOC exam and she passed the test. And so she was so excited. She called me up. She said, I got my results. I passed the test. And I think I want to try to get a job in baseball. And it was funny because that exact day, someone from the Boston Red Sox called and asked me if I knew somebody who had really good manual therapy skills and good rehab skills, because they were looking to hire somebody to work in their spring training complex in Arizona. And I said, I have the absolute perfect person for you. And so they interviewed her and they were very impressed, but there was the problem of, okay, well, she lives overseas. How are we going to, get this to work? So we had to figure out all the things with the visas. We had to figure out a bunch of different things, but it all worked out. And then the Boston Red Sox decided to offer her the position. So she became the first student or the first athletic trainer from Europe to work in professional baseball. And she worked this last year with the Boston Red Sox the whole year.
Amazing. There's so many connection pieces. And I think the one of many things that I take away from listening to your story, listening to you, is if you know Rick Griffin, you know PBATS. If you know PBATS, you know baseball. If you know baseball, it's global, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a sport that's played across the globe. And I think just a little takeaway on this World Congress specifically, it's been a lot of elements of social components, conversations that are, as Brian Zeller mentioned, outside of the 9 to 5,
right,
quote unquote. But that piece is massive here, right? To get face to face, to shake hands, for
Yeah.
you to talk to 5, 10, 100 students
Yeah.
or professionals.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, we actually had a student symposium, and it was a panel, and one of the members of the panel was Rachel. And so Rachel kind of told her journey to the 80 students that were in the room and talked about, what she did, why she did it, and how much she enjoyed it, how much she loved it. And since Rachel has gone over and done this, there's been a couple other students now that have gone back. The Kansas City Royals took a student, and he spent a summer as an intern with Kansas City Royals, and Nick Kinney, who's actually the president of PBATS. And then there's been a couple other students that have gone back. But this last group of students, there are several of them that say they're going to pass their BOC and they want to go back and work in baseball. And Rachel has talked to these people, and she's done articles over here in Ireland about her experience. And it's opened things up, I think, for people over here. These internships, and when these students come over, they're actually, in some way, they're actually kind of showing the individual teams that they're working with what they're capable of and what their skill sets are and what their level of athletic training skill is. And they're kind of doing a job interview for a month. And if they do a really good job, they have an opportunity now, because now it's been done. They have an opportunity to come back and work in the States in baseball.
Yeah, I don't know. Having worked in baseball, and obviously we have a little bit of a rivalry going right now.
Yes, we do.
Seattle and the Blue Jays, and fortunately or unfortunately, great series so far. Anyway, we won't go down that pathway just yet. But the curiosity of not knowing the sport, where you started with the two universities reaching out and saying, we don't have this.
Yeah.
We don't have the sport. We don't have the knowledge. So we're going to go there and immerse ourselves. Is that beneficial on your side? I know, having been in it, if you're not a quote unquote baseball guy or baseball person, sometimes it's hard to break in.
Yeah.
But it feels like there's an element here of curiosity that allows students who haven't been exposed to the sport to really dive in.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that the athletic trainers really have fun with over in the States, the baseball athletic trainers, because they come in and they don't know baseball. They don't understand the game. They sit in the dugout during the games and they ask hundreds of questions. I mean, if you think about going and watching a sport that you've never seen in your life, and now you're sitting there watching someone play it professionally, and you're having to pick it out, you're having to ask the questions. These students are over here asking all these questions. And it was funny, last year, two of the students that went with the Chicago Cubs, both of them had played hurling. They've both been over here in Ireland. They played hurling, and so they haven't swung a bat, but they had played hurling. And so some of the players were over there teasing them last year, and they said, "I bet you couldn't even hit a ball if you had a bat in your hand." And the two girls, they didn't say anything, and they put on a batting helmet and they threw a couple of pitches to them, and they both whacked the ball. And it really impressed everybody. So, the fact that they don't know baseball but they know hurling. I don't think it's a disadvantage at all. They learn the game. What they're impressed with is their knowledge of anatomy, their ability to do manual therapy, and they work hard. They're really good workers. I mean, they come over there. The students that come are the top students, and the students that come are the ones that want to learn, and they want to push the envelope a little bit, and they're not afraid of the long hours, and they work really hard. And it's just a really good program, because they get something out of it, and then the teams get something out of it having them there. And we look forward to having the students, because it gives a new element of excitement. You're teaching people that, like you said, they don't know the game, so they're coming in and you're teaching them the game, and then they're getting an opportunity to work with baseball, and they're learning all the new things over here that they don't have in their countries.
Yeah, no, amazing. And it's a sport where if you hit 3 out of 10, you go for 3 out of 10 in baseball, you're in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Are you batting Hall of Fame numbers with your internship program and PBATS so far?
Oh, I think we are. It's grown. I mean, we're over 200 students now from the UK and Ireland, and we had over 400 from Japan. So, I mean, we're closing in on probably 800 total students since 1994, and I think it's kind of the crown jewel of what we do in PBATS from an educational standpoint. We are providing an education to a large group of athletic trainers that want to learn baseball sports medicine, and they take that information and they can use it in a lot of different ways when they come back to their home country here in Ireland and the UK.
Great stuff. Last bit, I'll just throw it to you to close it out however you wish. It's been we met, I think, officially in maybe in Winnipeg.
Yeah, in Winnipeg.
Winnipeg first, then Tel Aviv, and now here we're in Dublin. Can you differentiate between the World Congresses? What has this one felt like for you?
This one, to me, is it seems a lot more engaging. There's a lot more communication going on. There's a lot more talking, and I think that's in part because Brian Zeller has stressed that to them. You're going to learn a lot of things from 8 to 5, but from 5 until 10, you can network and you can meet people. I really appreciate and enjoy the fact that the young students come up and ask me questions, and they want to learn things, and they want to get contacts. And I think that's the thing that I noticed the most. I just think that the young athletic trainers right now are a little more thirsty, they're a little more hungry, and they're not afraid to reach out and ask some questions, and they're not afraid to come up to you and how can I get a job, or how can I get a job that will employ the specific skill set that I have. I know in Winnipeg we didn't have as many students as we have here. And in Israel, we didn't have very many there either. It was a little smaller Congress in Israel, but this has been educationally, it's been phenomenal. There's a lot more educational components and things they can learn. And then the students here are very thirsty and hungry for knowledge.
Yeah, and for yours, and for sharing your time to our listeners as well who weren't able to be here. Always a pleasure. Game 6 coming up, Game 7 hopefully back in Toronto. Jays and Mariners, we'll leave it at that for now, but it's been a great series.
Yeah, we've been having fun. There's about 8 people from Toronto here, and I'm the lone Mariner, but we're having fun.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much.
Okay, always welcome.
Thanks again for being here. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being a part of this community. Check us out online, firststartherapy.com. That's FIRSTAR therapy.com. Or email us with feedback, consult@firststartherapy.com. CONSULT@firststartherapy.com. On Instagram @firststar.therapy, and our podcast host @letschat.at. This is First Star Let's Chat, an athletic therapy podcast.